It's been a week since the release of the info on the Vanguard presentation, and there is a lot to cover. We have the DivineZ anime, DivineZ product in general, and also a lot of change to the game. They are not really a huge change, but it is big enough for you to actually stop and think whether is it a good change or not. Don't worry, all of them are good, but I do think there are some of them that I feel my opinion might be a little bit different.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And we also will be getting a new type of resource in Vanguard. And today I'm gonna be recapping what they give and essentially just give my thoughts on it. So consider me kind of like a devil advocate and also the angel of it at the same time. So let's start off with rule change first. The first one, and I feel the biggest one, is essentially the deck increase. So in the previous rule, you have to consider the right line when you are building for the Vanguard deck, which total up to 50 cards. But now, regardless of the special rules in your deck, your main deck will always be 50 cards, and there is a few good advantage and disadvantage coming from it. For the first one, the good thing about it is that a lot of deck tends to lack like one or two more powerful tech choice that actually improve upon the deck, or like a brand new VR that need to be played for, you have to take certain card out of it. This rule essentially just negate that completely. Like for example, with the new Rorowa support and also the deck PR, you just need to play 4 of them in that extra 4 slot that was given to you due to the rule change.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
I think it is a great change because essentially it just opened up a lot more flexibility for deck building, which is something that I'm all down for. But it does have a little problem, and that kind of simply boils down to the trigger ratio. For decks that does a lot of filtering like Useberg, you have a little bit of hard time playing with the new rules because there are more cards for you to actually filter, because you know the trigger ratio has been reduced. But in exchange, decks that tends to go through a deck quickly like Barrow, Magnus, Chaos, anything that has a lot of Soul Charge, Soul Blast or drawing gets additional advantage where their deck one deck out so soon. Does make a lot of difference if you play a long game as well. Overall, a very welcoming change for me. The only nitpick I have, aside from the lower trigger ratio, is essentially I have to go around my room and find all the additional 4 sleep that will be used in the deck, which will be quite a tough task for me, and I think a lot of people as well. Secondly, let's talk about another rule change, and this is the one that I feel I have a little bit conflict, and that is the way you assign who going first and second. So in the past, or what we have been used to by now, you play some kind of RNG based game like coin toss or dice, and those who won will go first and those who lost go second. So the new rule indicates that the winner is able to choose whether they want to go first or second. The good thing about it is that this allows the win to be even more of a dub, because this means that depending on what deck you play, you are able to essentially play your deck at the optimal level, which does affect a good number of decks like Must deck in general, Grateful decks, or essentially Useberg, cause you know Useberg going first is essentially 80% win already. But here is the devil part I will be talking about. I am not a big fan of this because of the fact that it also makes the loser lose even harder. Imagine if you are on the mercy of the winner and you happen to play the deck that essentially put you in a disadvantage of the order that your opponent choose it for you. So for example, you play Must deck and your opponent choose for him to go second, and I know some Must deck can get around it, but it's still a disadvantage nonetheless. And personally for me, with Vanguard getting much more powerful in terms of like power creep and also the speed, I feel having this choice just put the winner into a way too much of a high ground compared to the previous rule where it kind of even out the play because it leaves starting off the game to a chance. But overall, it's a decent change for those who win, I guess. Like personally, it's not the terrible change. That's why I'm saying I'm like 50-50 on this, because if you have a shit luck, this is the worst rule change you ever get. But if you have a really good luck, this is the best rule change you ever get. So leave down in comments because I am really curious on what you guys think on this part. Next up, we have Divine Skill, which are essentially once per game skill, as you have seen with the Vista skill in Pokemon, and also once per game skill with level 3 units in the Diva era of Recross. I personally feel that this is not a bad change. the biggest problem that we see with regular piece is because of the fact that you have to hard draw into it or search through it to actually get the benefit of it. But with divine skills stuck onto the Vanguard, this kind of removes that change, and I feel that this might make a lot more impact compared to regular piece. Though I will have to say this first, I hope they do something cool with it, even if it is play during your turn, which most of the once per game skill I saw in Recross also do something along that line. So just play something fun with it, I guess. And also, I hope these divine skills are not restricted to just the Divine's era Vanguard only. I hope they eventually add them into the older units as well. Don't need to be everyone, but you know, just give the older race some love afterward. I mean, they already do it with Zorga and Velstra, you know. Do it with more units, like Magnolia for example. And then last but not least, we have the energy system. Essentially the third type of resource aside from the damage and the soul. And personally for me, this is a good change, at least based on what we have seen so far. As right now, the only two cards we saw was the right deck crest, which is a way for Bushiroad to increase the advantage for the going second player, as it has a skill where if you're going second, you essentially start off with 3 additional energy. And on top of that, we also get a clear elemental unit. I mean, I know it's nationless, but you know, that essentially allow you to essentially ride into grade 3 for free at a cost of 4 energy. And this works as a rare card. Before I say my piece, all of this energy mechanic will be included in the start deck. And overall, I think energy mechanic is great. Though I will have to say that I hope they play more with it soon. Not like how they do with the order mechanic when it came out during V. Like, play around with it more, you know. I hope they play around with it, and I hope they play it properly, because one of the biggest problem I have with Bushiroad when it comes to card design is the fact that they have a great concept, but they have a terrible follow-up. So I hope this time around with the energy mechanic, I hope they fine-tune it properly. But overall, it's great. I mean, it gives you a reason to actually whack the start deck. That is pretty much it for today. Overall, all these changes are great for me, but it is also very prone for a can of worm to be opened later on as well. But what do you guys think? Once again, leave down in the comments below, as I'm curious on what you guys think. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is Mac Megane signing out.